Daf Mem Gimel, there's a unique chiddush that only applies to a zav, and that is the concept of heses. If a zav moves another person who's tar with a stick, that person becomes tamei. And if a person who's tar moves a zav with a stick, that person becomes tamei as well. However, continuing with the sugi that we had yesterday of beis hastarim, if the zav puts the stick in his armpit and the stick is covered, and then he moves another human being that's tar, that person remains tar. Because the pasuk says, Yodel Shalach B'Mayim, there's the concept of Netilas Yadayim. Just like the hands are exposed, so too the stick needs to be exposed. However, in the reverse case, when a person who's tar moves a zav with a stick that's bebeis hastarim in his armpit, that person that's tar becomes tamei because now it's not heses, that's masa. We said in the Mishnah that by a zav and a balkari, the ziva needs to come out of his body. How do we know this? Because by zav it says zav mibsarei must come out of his guf, and by zera it says kiseitze mimenu shichva zera comes out. It says in the Mishnah, if a person feels that his zera is dislodged and he's in the middle of eating truma, we have a problem. He can't get rid of the truma because then he'll be wasting truma. So what does he do? He holds onto the zaver, prevents the zera from coming out, and therefore he's not tamei, and he swallows the truma. Ask the Gemara, how can one do so? It's an aveira. In fact, Rabbi Eliezer says the whole dar hamabel occurred because people weren't makbid on that. Says Abaya that we're talking about that he didn't hold on to the zaver, he used a thick cloth. And Rava says you don't have to come onto that. Even without a thick cloth, it's mutter. Why? Because once the zera is dislodged, we're not concerned that additional zera will be dislodged. Abaya is concerned that additional zera can be dislodged. The Gemara brings three lashonos in Shmuel. The first lashon is that Shmuel said that zera that comes out without feeling a sensation in the whole body is not zera that's able to fertilize, and therefore it's not metama the person at all. The second lashon is that a zera that doesn't come out forcefully, yorik echetz, is not able to fertilize, and therefore the person is not tamei. What's the difference between the two lashonos? In a case that he does have a hargasha, but it didn't come out like a chetz. So according to the second lashon, he'll be completely tar, and according to the first lashon, he'll be tamei. A person that dreams about tashmish and he wakes up and he sees that his aver is cham, but he doesn't see zera, he's tamei, because we have to assume that there was zera. But what happens according to the lashon that you need a hargasha? We'll say that he had a hargasha, he just doesn't remember it because he was sleeping. The third halacha is that even though the zera didn't come out kechetz, it didn't come out forcefully, he's still tamei, but it cannot fertilize. And Rava has a suffix. What happens in a situation where a person had a hargasha, he felt the akira, the dislodging, but it didn't shoot out like a chetz, it didn't come out forcefully. So Gemara wanted to bring a raya from a person who's about carry and goes to the mikvah. If he didn't go to the bathroom before he went to the mikvah, and he goes to the bathroom after he went to the mikvah, he becomes tamei. Because we're concerned that perhaps some zera remained, and it came out afterwards when he went to the bathroom. But what about hargasha? What about that you have to feel the sensation? It says the Gemara, there was a hargasha. Initially when it was dislodged, that was the hargasha. And this is the leftover zera that remains. So Rava asks three questions that remain in the teiku. The first one is, do we go by akira, by the time that the zera is dislodged, or we go by the yitzia when it comes out of the guf? Nafkamina, if a person became a ger in between. So there was an akira when he was a goy, and there was a yitzia came out of his guf when he was a Jew. The akira when he was a goy, his zera is not matam at all. So this ger would be tar. Or perhaps it goes by the yitzia when he was a Jew. Do we use akira even when it brings us to a kula? In this case, the ger would be tar. Second question is, even if we go by akira, what about meiraglayim by azava? Meiraglayim, urine has halacha of avatuma. So if it's dislodged from the body but it remained in the body, and she went to the mikvah, and then after she went to the mikvah, she went to the bathroom, there's no more meiraglayim. Do the meiraglayim mitama or not? Do we say that meiraglayim are different than zera? Zera, he has no control over it, but meiraglayim, she can withhold it in her guf. Perhaps it's not the same thing. And the third question was, what about a giyoris who was toivel, and after she was toivel, she went to the bathroom meiraglayim? The meiraglayim, since she's considered a zava, every goy in the world is considered a zava, goya, but it's only midrabanan. So do we say that since it's only midrabanan, she's not tamei, or no? So in the Mishnah we learned that a zav and a bakeri, the shear of ziva and keri is kol shu. There's no shear, anything, any small amount. So in ziva, Rabbi Shmuel learns from the pasuk oy hechtim besaroi, if he seals his basar, in other words, anything that can plug the aver. In other words, Rabbi Shmuel holds that there is a shear. It's not a kolshu, it's chasimas basar. Kidei chasimas fi ha'ama. Rabbanan say, from the lashon hechtim, that you see that it needs to be liquid and it can't be hardened, because if it's hardened, it can't seal, it will fall off, explains Rashi. And Rabbi Shmuel learns the concept that it needs to be liquid from the word rar. Rar means that it's running. So if you see, it says in the pasuk, that's how Rabbi Shmuel learns the concept of lach, that it needs to be moist. Rabbanan learned from this pasuk that you need 3 re'iyos by a zav in order to bring a carbon, but only 2 to be a zav gomer. They learn from the pasuk, that's 1, rar b'tzara is 2 re'iyos, es zayvai is the 3rd re'iyah. And mi zayvai, highlighted in yellow, means even part of those 3. In other words, 2 also creates a zav gomer, just you don't bring a carbon. Rabbi Shmuel learns the 2 re'iyos from a different pasuk. Pasuk right before, it says, ish ki yeh zav mi b'tzara, that's 1. Zayvai is 2. Now the question is, what do Chacham do with that pasuk? So mibsar means it must emerge from his basar, and zayvai means that the ziva itself is mekabel tumah. And then Rabbi Shmuel learns that you need 3 zivas in order to bring a carbon from zayis tia tumasui bezayvai. Rar bibsara zayvai is 2. Oy hechtem b'sar zayvai is 3. So he actually has the word rar is extra, and that's how he learns lach. Rabbi R Eli says that when it comes to Shichva Zera, the concept of Raya, the emission from the Zav is by Balkari is Mashu. But when another person touches it, it must be B'chadasha. Now there's a concept of Doi Mino Umina and Doi Mino Vuki Basra. Doi Mino Umina means I learned, for instance, in our case, I'm going to learn Zera from Sheretz. So I'm learning one thing from another. Do I continue learning from Sheretz the Shir? So if you continue learning from Sheretz, that's Doi Mino, Umino. I learn another thing. What am I learning? Just like Sheretz B'chadasha, Zera is also B'chadasha if I touch it. Or another man learns Doi Mino, Buki Basra. I learn from Sheretz the concept that if I touch, I'm Tamei. But then I learn from myself, I learn from Zera, that in the case of Raya, it's B'mashu, so too, B'noigeya, it's also B'mashu. Have a wonderful day.